Welcome to another episode of the Chicks on the Right show, where we talk to our friend and sponsor of the show, Zach Abraham from Bulwark Capital Management. Zach is here today to break down a new Kamala proposal. This is crazy. I'm going to read directly from her plan. The quote says, "She will ensure that Black men can build wealth and achieve economic success by providing 1 million loans that are fully forgivable of up to $20,000 to Black entrepreneurs and others who have historically faced barriers to starting new businesses." So how is a forgivable loan not just a handout? Like, why?
Right.
What is this terminology?
I was going to say, my wife is the majority owner of our firm, and she started it with me, and she didn't need, my wife's half Black, and she didn't need a loan from Kamala Harris to build our business. So,
Right. Well,
and my wife grew up, her real father is doing a stint in prison. Her stepfather's awesome guy, but grew up, in not advantaged at all. Like a young mom. I think her mom had her when she was 19. And you hear it. I'm waiting for, and my wife talks about this all the time, but I'm waiting for people, especially minorities, to become insulted by this.
right.
Right. Your chance of success is non-existent unless you have our help.
Yes.
Right now, meanwhile, I'm going to avoid the fact that I'm a Black woman running for president.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. In a party whose last popular president was a 2-term Black man.
Right.
Like, and you're just sitting there going, when will this narrative die? Quite honestly, I think what you need to do is you need to repeal a lot of the laws and regulations you have that give large businesses such an advantage over. You don't need to target Black people. Make it easier to start and build businesses in this country, and Black people will be among the people that take advantage because they're not stupid. And because they don't need your help, right? They need you just to get out of their way.
It's obvious. It's obvious pandering is what it is. It's pandering to a group of people. It's and I feel like you're absolutely right. Like they should, at this point, they see exactly what she's doing because she's just like Miss Panderpants all over the place.
Yeah, and I think I was reading an article today too. I really sense, and this is kind of crazy because I wouldn't have said this a week and a half ago. There must be some alarming internals that they're looking at because you sense desperation coming out of that campaign. And people are like, what are you talking about? She has agreed to go on with Brett Baer on Fox. And she is currently negotiating with Joe Rogan to get on the Joe Rogan show. Okay, those when you look at what she's done up until this point, these are Hail Mary political attempts because just like she's stumbling over softballs, right? She's stumbling on The View. Okay, you put her in front of Rogan or Brett Baer, it's going to be ugly. But what it tells me, and then more of these kind of pandering type policies. Like I said, I'm not sure what's changed in the last 2 weeks, but I'm looking at this campaign going from the outside looking in going, you must be seeing some really bad numbers because that's the only thing that really makes sense here.
Something is wrong. Because like in this policy, she's saying stuff like, I'm going to cut red tape for these people. She could have done this for the past 4 years and she could have done it for everybody. Your melanin content does not matter when you're a business owner. Like you nailed it. When you talk, it doesn't matter how much melanin, like we all, because we're business owners, you're a business owner. We know a lot of business owners. And you know what? The government just needs to get out of our way and let us do what we need to do. We suffer. I mean, like, especially around tax time, I think you feel our pain. Like it is tough. And so they really they just need to get out of our way and let us do our thing. And when it comes to regulations and all the hoops we have to jump through, if they just let us do what we do best, there would be a lot of things that you get it. You totally get it. They are in our way. And there's regulations and red tape and bureaucracy that they don't need to have there. And she's like, well, I'm going to do that now. Why didn't you do it 4 years ago? Oh my God.
Yeah, this whole thing is completely unconstitutional regardless.
Right.
To target something like this that is essentially a giveaway of more of our tax money to just Black people? Like how is that legal?
On racial criteria. Hey, here's the other thing too. And again, I feel encouraged because I feel like there are some signs of it picking up. But again, my wife and I talk about this and we've talked to our kids about this. And history is replete with these examples. If you want to know who your friends and your enemies are, right? a good way to identify an enemy or somebody who doesn't have your best interest at heart is the person that tells you that you can't do something and then tells you all the reasons why you can't, right? A friend is somebody that tells you you can and shows you how, right? And all I hear coming out of this party is why you can't succeed, why you can't succeed, why you can't succeed. And here are all the reasons why, and it's all stacked against you. Meanwhile, we're going to ignore the fact that I am exactly what you are, and somehow I succeeded, right? Which kind of gives you a glimpse into, oh, because you're a special minority, right? You're one of the smart ones. The rest of them are dolts running around that need you and the state's help. And it's so condescending and it's so ridiculous. Like I said, I hope and I think people are waking up to it because, these aren't even political debates. This is asinine. It's like the reintroduction of reverse Jim Crow laws. Like that gets us to a better place.
Yeah. But when it comes to role models and stuff, Zach, I want my daughter looking up to somebody like your wife who does own a business rather than my daughter looking up to like a Kamala.
Right.
Because let's face it, when they talk to business owners, like these politicians, when they try to talk to people, when they try to talk to business owners like us, they don't know what they're talking about because they've never built something, owned something, created something. They've never created jobs, for crying out loud. So they don't get it, which is why a lot of people are gravitating towards the Trumps and the Elons and those people on that side, on our side of the aisle, because they know that they get it. They understand us. They know what it's like to build things and create things and innovate.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating and so maddening to me because literally what they're out there preaching is the exact opposite of what these people need to hear, right?
Right.
Meaning, look, the American dream is still alive and well, and that is that if you get up in the morning and you get up earlier and work harder than anybody else, you're not guaranteed, but man, it's pretty. If you do those things consistently enough, it's amazing what happens.
That's right.
And to be out there telling these people that that's not the case, it's just, it kind of goes along. To me, it goes along with sort of their whole narrative, right? Which is, we're so, look at the priorities of freedoms they're worried about, right? They're worried about a insurrection on our Capitol, and they're not worried about the infringements on free speech. Right. One worries me substantially more than the other. And it's just like you look at them constantly and you could not be looking in the wrong direction more often than you are. Right. Talk about the gang that couldn't shoot straight. It's just it's amazing to me.
Yeah. And if
you guys, did you know that she grew up in a middle class family?
And worked at McDonald's.
Right. Exactly.
That's right.
Are we sure she did? Are we sure about that?
Yeah, I mean, these are all just slight details, I mean, she's just playing the Joe Biden playbook,
This is a highly tumultuous time, and we're like living through some serious history right now. And I know people in general, us included, we get worried. I mean, about what's going to happen with this election, what that's going to do to the financial world that we all live in. And this is what you are an expert at. So we always tell people during our show that they should reach out to you for a free risk review or at least tune in to your podcast. How can people do that?
Yeah, I think the easiest way is you contact us directly by just going to our website, bulwarkcapitalmanagement.com, Know Your Risk Radio podcast. We're all over the place. You can just Google us. And yeah, I mean, like we talked about before, I think that now is a time where you do need to be concerned about downside risks, but there's also incredible opportunities out there in things that can protect you from inflation. And that's something that people are still really sleeping on. And, we're seeing some really big, exciting things happen in that part of the investment world. So it's protecting against risk, but it's also, taking advantage of some really amazing opportunities that I think are playing out right now.
I love the positivity. I love that.
That's awesome.
Well, it's the old adage my grandfather used to say, it's like the little kid digging through the pile of horse manure, right? If there's all this horse manure, there's got to be a pony somewhere.
Totally. Totally, Zach.
Yeah, so there's always opportunities out there, and there's some really exciting ones right now.
I love it.
Thank you, Zach. We appreciate you as always.
All right, ladies.
Zach.
Thanks for having me on.
Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. Any references to performance of securities are thought to be materially accurate, and actual performance may differ. Investments involve risk and are not guaranteed. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results. Trek 24308.